Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, whenever you hear that music, it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to bid St. Kitts and Nevis a very pleasant night wherever you are in the Federation and wherever you are throughout the entire Caribbean region. To my Straight Talk family in the Kittition and Division diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to Straight Talk with Ian Patches Liburd on his Facebook page or on YouTube, whichever media platform you're on. I say welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. For those of you who have joined me for the first time, I wish to welcome you as a first timer, and just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us in the process try to bring St. Kitts back to that status of being one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And my Straight Talk family, yes, I've been meeting quite a lot of my fans who have been deprived of really being able to hear me on that traditional radio station. But don't mind, we look around, just share your feed with your family, your friends, and those who don't have that internet access as well. Try to accommodate them, I beg you. But tonight, my Straight Talk family, we want to look at my dissertation tonight, my thesis. As usual, I provide you with a thesis so we can have discussion, intelligible discussion. Before I do that, how can I not include my Straight Talk family in the diaspora all over the world? I know you're in Asia, Africa, Europe, and you're all over North America. So let me say good night. I can say good afternoon, and I will say good morning, in particular for those in Europe, my Straight Talk family over there in the United Kingdom. We know you wait up late at night to hear the program, and we do appreciate that. I am humbled when you do something like that. We'll try to get some sleep in the next 2 hours or so, and I'll get you back to bed, I can assure you. But as I was saying, for the first timers, since we had a conversation, or rather, I should say, since we had a conversation for everyone on Thursday last, there are so many issues that have arisen, and all need to be addressed. But we cannot practically do that in the time that we have available to us. And as I was saying earlier, my proposed thesis for tonight, however, is water come back, now electricity gone. And that's the situation we are living here in St. Kitts. And governments have an obligation to deliver public goods to citizens in return for the exercise of political power. And when I say public goods, I refer or I include public infrastructure such as roads, water, electricity and services such as safety and security, healthcare, fire and rescue services, education, and of course, very important, social protection. And these are not exhaustive. And the Jew Labour government has a monopoly in the provision, and governments before this incumbent did have a monopoly in the provision of these public goods, thereby preventing others from producing them, while some are by nature the sole responsibility of the government. For that reason, the government might claim a monopoly in the delivery of water and electricity. But here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the lists of public goods that this new Labour government is failing to provide is staggering. I say it again. The list of public goods that this new administration is failing to provide is staggering. But given my time constraints within the program, as I said, I will focus on the provision of water and electricity. And we'll all agree that for us to function smoothly in our daily lives, we need water and electricity. Yes, to engage in our regular activities like taking a shower or bathing, drinking, cooking, watching television, or using our tablets, working on a laptop, all include the use of both resources, water and electricity. But before we embark upon a full discussion on our topic tonight, may I remind you, though, that an integral part of our program are our observations in review, which we will now address. And our observations in review is that time when we highlight the issues, some of which we may have addressed in the past, then we do some reflection, we then ask a few questions such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next. Also, what new we have learned as a people. And my Straight Talk family, our first observation relates to our sister island, Nevis. And many are pondering what's happening to the budget over there in Nevis. And budget day in Nevis is next week, if for one moment we can believe what comes out or comes from the mouth of Brantley, because Brantley said this just recently. So if we believe Brantley, the middle of February comes next week. And I cannot wait to listen to the Premier's 2023 budget address, especially because in 2022, he had a $98 million budget deficit, save for the $45 million budgetary support he got from Harris. And my Straight Talk family, debt under Brantley climbed to $500 million. Yes, $500 million. But in the meanwhile, Brantley still has an oversupply of political, economic, social, and other problems, despite all the schemes he apparently employed during the last NIA election. And we haven't heard anything further on the election petitions. But one staunch supporter of CCM did not mince words about Brantley's rejection by the people of Nevis. And his supporter said this. And that's coming from a good pastor and avid supporter of CCM. And since Mark Brantley became Premier in 2018, the economy in Nevis has gone into the doldrums. He has been hemming and hawing with geothermal that comes with so many legacy issues. His recent announcement on geothermal development, we must all take with a grain of salt, even for those across here in St. Kitts who talk about it. And this talk about establishing one national grid, we understand that grid can only be sited on Booby Island. But Mark's secretive development of the Vance Amory International Airport, which he has agreed to lease or sell to this Moroccan-born billionaire who holds citizenship for France and Israel as well. For some time now, Brantley signaled to Nevis that his wealthy need, or his wealthy friends, I should say, the wealthy people, not the poor people, his wealthy friends need to land the aircraft in Nevis instead of St. Kitts. Perhaps that's what Pastor Doe was talking about, not looking out for the poor man. And this billionaire, friend of Brantley, owns two planes, a Falcon 7X and a Bombardier Global 7500, which cannot take off on a runway like the one at the airport in Nevis, that is 4,000 feet long. But these planes need a runway of over 5,000 feet, respectively. Recall as well that Mark Brantley first signed an agreement to also give away the Vance Amory International Airport to a company called B&L Worldwide in 2019. And we always bring you the evidence. Well, this is what Mark Brantley said in 2020. Who would believe that an international airport in Nevis, he intended to give away the airport and put it under the control of BNL. He didn't say a time involved, but as a member of the cabinet, he sat in the federal cabinet that rejected this BNL worldwide services and propose international hub. But who would believe that in May 2022, unknown to the people of Nevis, the double deal in Brantley secretly signed an agreement with Blue Airport Limited, a company set up by this billionaire, who will literally own the airport until he is fully repaid. That is why the people of Nevis sent home Alexis Jeffords, who was harassing some home owners to relocate their properties without providing any alternative. He said to this one property owner that the NIA did not have $25 million to relocate them, but he's now appointed a special advisor in the Premier's ministry with specific authority to advance the airport project. Now, the billionaire has agreed to spend $24 million, and once reimbursed, the revenue will be shared 70-30 between the investor, Patrick Drehy, and the NIA for 7 years. Then the proceeds will all go to the NIA once the billionaire has recovered all of his investment. Now, Blue Airport Limited expects to benefit from the NIA's exemption from personal or corporate taxes for all matters relating to revenue from the project. The management of the airport and or the leasing of the hangar for a period of 15 years or for the entire repayment period is one component. But Mark Brantley has continued to misguide the people of Nevis. But in time, we will find out. Our second observation relates to the National Parliament, which convenes on Wednesday the 8th, this Wednesday. And according to the order paper, 6 bills will receive their first reading and 2 will receive their second reading. Of great interest to many, the Attorney General and Minister responsible for Justice and Legal Affairs, Garth Wilkin, will seek leave of the Honorable House or Assembly to introduce, and have read a first time the bills entitled Integrity in Public Life Amendment Bill 2023, Anti-Corruption Bill 2023, Freedom of Information Bill 2023, and the Official Gazette Bill 2023. And I say of great interest because in the Freedom of Information Bill, you will find words such as protection of whistleblowers, special prosecutor, disclosure of information in the public interest, and media access to government information. Yet the said Attorney General has recently taken action in his private capacity that borders on the suppression of the fundamental rights and freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we'll hear much more about that in due course, my Street Dog family. Our next observation, and we are still pursuing the management of the MSR Media Limited, which came to St. Kitts Nevis with an empty briefcase and a financial statement claiming to have as an asset £1,000. But after 2 short years, just 2 short years, and a monthly stipend of $400,000, after 2 short years and a monthly stipend of $400,000 from the NIA, this company has purchased a hotel in St. Kitts. But more importantly, Prime Minister Jew remains tight-lipped with respect to any money paid to MSR, if any, from the St. Kitts Treasury. So this is the kind of transparency and accountability practice by the Jew administration that is his new way and better day. And our fourth observation relates to how the Prime Minister continues to dodge. The Prime Minister continues to literally dodge the passport question. He's been dodging it now for over 2 months. And the last time he dodged it was sometime last week. I think it was last week, Wednesday to be exact, when he got this question hurled at him. And you know my straight dog family. And that's coming. This is really sad. A good pastor. And this is really, really sad, my straight dog family. And a fork tongue on display. And we must ask the question, is the Prime Minister lying, or he just does not have a clue? Because there is the St. Christopher and Nevis Citizenship Act, Cap 105, and subsidiary legislation, the revised edition showing the laws as at the 31st of December 2017. And in the short title and interpretation, you'll find minister means minister responsible for national security. And Section 12 of the said Act, the Citizenship Act, reads, and I quote, where a person who has acquired citizenship in citizenship of St. Kitts and Nevis by registration either under the Constitution or this Act, desires to be issued with a certificate of registration, that person may, on making application in writing, therefore to the minister, and upon payment of any fee that may be prescribed, be issued by the minister with a certificate of registration in the prescribed form. My people, the CIU does the necessary due diligence on the investors and ensures that the necessary fees are placed into escrow as it relates to the CBI. The Citizenship by Investment Unit sends projects to Skipper, the St. Kitts Investment Promotion Agency, for review and recommendation via a cabinet submission to the Cabinet of Ministers. And once approved, the Cabinet Secretary sends the Cabinet extract and submission to the CIU, that in turn ensures that the appropriate fees are collected prior to preparing the Certificate of Registration, the COR, for the Prime Minister's signature. And there's only one person who can sign the COR, and that is the Prime Minister. All he can sign. CORs are entered into a book at the office of the Prime Minister, then returned to the CIU for transmittal to the service provider, who presents the COR to the Ministry of National Security for issuance of the passport. And every Wednesday and Friday, the Prime Minister gets an update on the number of applications received, the number approved, and the amount of fees collected. So the Prime Minister should not pass the buck to the CEO of the CIO. He cannot give out that information. The Prime Minister signs the CORs. But you know what is his problem? The Prime Minister's problem is that the prison project was so corrupt to the Prime Minister while he was in opposition. Remember this. My Straight Talk family, the prison project, as I said, was so corrupt. It was so corrupt, I understand that we have not been hearing about it. But my Straight Talk family, it has now been sanitized. And Prime Minister Drew, I'm receiving all these calls. I got your messages. Please understand that, yes, I understand that you're not hearing my sound bites. I'll get the technical assistance as it relates to that. But please, I can't answer the telephone at this time. I understand and appreciate your concerns. Yes, I understand. I just got the message that you're not hearing my sound bites, and I do apologize for that. And we will try to rectify that. But it has now been sanitized, and Prime Minister Drew cannot deny that he has signed over 3,000 applications or CORs under this AIO of the CBI. Now, the alternative investment option that should be my Straight Talk family. Now, I want to say to you that he can only conceal these facts. He can only conceal these facts for a while and not forever. Prime Minister Drew cannot conceal these facts forever. But why did Prime Minister Drew ask the Governor General, Seaton, to leave Government House? And we asked the question, what does S.W. Tapley Seaton has to do with Sir Edmund Wickham Lawrence? Because the Prime Minister said he gave the last Governor General time to leave. So he gave him, he said, time until January the 1st. My family, there are two questions that arise. And these two questions that arise are, what does Sir Tapley have to do with Sir Edmund? 2, is it expected that every time a government changes, the government or the Governor General, beg your pardon, will change? And those are two pertinent questions, my Straight Talk family. Now, the Deputy Prime Minister as well announced that over 8,000 persons were considered eligible for PAP payment for February 2023. My Straight Talk family. Over 8,000 people, he said. My Straight Talk family, the Deputy Prime Minister again made that announcement, and I'm still not clear if you're not hearing my sound bites, but he also said that temporary cash transfers are being made. And he has labeled this the temporary cash program. Temporary cash transfers, as he said. Cash. My family, I understand, yes, you are not hearing my sound bites. So what I'll do, I'll perhaps forego those sound bites. But as I said, he referred to the new arrangement as a temporary cash transfer. This means that recipients will only be allowed on the program for a maximum of 1 year. Meanwhile, under this Jew Labour administration, poor people are faced with mounting expenses for rent, food, water, and electricity, and other debt that households across St. Kitts and Nevis are suddenly unable to cover. The old and the young are crying out daily. The old and the young are crying out daily, my Straight Dog family. And let me try this one more time. Okay, again, I'll forego those sound bites. But recall, the Poverty Alleviation Program is a social assistance program of the Ministry of Ministry of Social or Sustainable Development, I should say, my Straight Dog family. Now, it was introduced in 2018. In 2018, it was introduced under the Team Unity administration. It aimed to assist the poor people, my Street Dog family, the needy, and the most vulnerable households in St. Kitts and Nevis. Households earning under $3,000 per month could apply and receive consideration of a $500 monthly stipend. The Team Unity administration, with the Prime Minister who demonstrated all throughout his political career that he loved people, and in particular the poor people amongst us. On the campaign trail, the Labour Party leader promised to increase the pot, as according to him, $500 cannot lift people out of poverty. But this proves one more time what they have done, that the Prime Minister speaks with a forked tongue. It is with this forked tongue that the Prime Minister dealt as well with the peace program since he took office by putting it on pause. Registration, you understand, ends on February 11th. And feeling the pressure of the office and his poor decisions on so many issues, Prime Minister Drew tried to blame the leadership of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. But Commissioner Brandy can and must hold his head high, having in the past 4 years and a half, under his leadership, crime was brought under control. Homicide was reduced from 24, or the 24 he inherited. He reduced it to 10 in 1 year. As Commissioner Brandy moves into retirement, we have 3 in 1 month. Let us not forget the high we had of 36 under the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration. The Drew administration, since assuming office, has played the blame game and keeps driving the car in the rearview mirror. They all blame their predecessors for everything it has failed to deliver. The country out of water, the minister blames somebody instead of tackling the challenges. But leading only happens in the present. And when we believe that our strategic vision exists as an object out there in the future, 2 things happen. First, we tend to build up a selective picture of reality as it should be, not as it actually is. And this creates a tunnel vision. Second, we restrict the choices and opportunities that are available to us now. We see only what we want to see. Our thinking is biased, warped, or twisted out of reasoning. But it's not the future that's unknown, it's the present. This is much more exciting because it means the present is what we must explore if we want to understand and be ready for what's next. Leadership should be about liberating people to achieve remarkable things, using all the possibilities in the here and now. We must look for other options than fossil fuels to generate electricity. The possibilities include solar power, wind power, and hydraulic power. This will ensure that fossil fuels will last till our future and our upcoming generations can use it as well. If water and electricity go out of supply, we all will face a problem, because both water and electricity are essential resources for survival, which makes life more comfortable, and one should take care of it for it to last. Let's look at the water situation. Records at the RLB, the National Met Office, indicate that our rainfall still continues in deficit, because a high percentage of the average and the forecast is for this trend to worsen. Regional and international climatologists link this weather pattern to climate change. The Water Services Department was forced years ago to to reduce abstraction by 55% from the Bastia Valley Aquifer and other wells around the island due to the threat of saltwater intrusion, which would deem the wells unusable. And saltwater intrusion comes from the sea level rise. And this has resulted in demand control or water rationing around the island, with service interruptions between the hours of 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. and sometimes in our case from 8 p.m. to 4 in the a.m. And this situation is not sustainable and can do irreparable damage to our productive sectors, agriculture and tourism in particular. Our health, education and other sectors are also vulnerable. And to avoid a deeper crisis, we have to get new water into our system immediately. We have not in the past 10 years increased the amount of water available for public consumption. If we reflect between 2008 and 2015, my people, our demand has steadily increased during this period. In the Bastia, Frigate Bay and Southeast Peninsula area, due to developments such as Christophe Harbour, Silver Reef, Ocean's Edge, and will continue to increase with the developments going on. Pelican Bay, and thank God that Park Hyatt provided their own water system. Koi came on board, and others, but as well as the domestic housing and agriculture sectors. Our demand in the Bastia system in particular is now almost 2 times the present supply and growing. Kittitian Hill, Heldons require more than is available in the Water Services Department system, and we will have to find new water. My people, the possibility of relocating the Valley plant to the Bird Rock Frigate Bay area was explored. We don't know how feasible that is now. This plant, we ponder if it still can be refurbished to produce 1 million gallons per day. Since 2007, it has lied idle there in the valley. The ministry back then sought Cabinet's approval to enter into negotiations with Royal Utilities and bring an additional 0.75 million gallons of potable water to augment the reduced supply in the Frigate Bay Southeast Peninsula area precipitated by the extended dry period. My people, we did in fact improve under the Water Supply Improvement Program, improve water supply in Mansions, Phillipsbury and Molyneux. But water makes life, and every drop cycles continuously through air, land and sea to be used by someone or something else downstream. Water covers 70% of the Earth's surface. 2/3 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. In St. Kitts and Nevis, the entire federation is surrounded by water, yet there is a scarcity of drinkable water around us. Quite a lot has been said about water in St. Kitts. Many things are right, but some things are dead wrong. And in most cases, drinking water comes from 2 sources in St. Kitts: surface water or groundwater. And in St. Kitts, those are the facts. And my focus is on St. Kitts, as I have not studied the situation in Nevis. But my straight talk family, if for those 2 large, or the 2 largest hotels on St. Kitts, the Marriott and Park Hyatt, did not produce their own supply of water via the process of desalination, you could imagine where we would have been. And what does the situation in St. Kitts look like? And we can look at the situation by examining the statistics. My people, our groundwater supplies, our wells are susceptible, albeit not as vulnerable. Today, we need to enhance the value of water, which is under extreme threat from a growing population, increasing demands of agriculture and industry, and we in St. Kitts Nevis know too well about the worsening impacts of climate change. Did you know, my Stray Dog family, that today around the globe, 1 in 3 persons live without safe drinking water? It is estimated that by 2050, up to 5.7 billion people could be living in areas where water is scarce for at least 1 month a year. Climate-resilient water supply and sanitation could save the lives of more than 360 infants each year. My people, extreme weather has caused more than 90% of the major disasters over the last decade. By 2040, global energy demand is projected to increase by over 25%, and water demand is expected to increase by more than 50%. My people, these are difficult times. And even before that eventuality, we are already facing climate-induced water stress. Ironically, as I said, there's a desalination plant that has sat idly at the valley since 2006 or 2007. The people in Sandy Point and Newton Ground are experiencing expanding demand in those areas. My people, as we look to our electricity, SCELEC, and worse yet, under the Energy Cooperation Agreement between the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and the government of St. Kitts Nevis, SCED owed US $45 million between 2007 and 2011, and another $22 million US between 2011 and 2015. When Team Unity took office, SCELEC owed the PDV joint venture company US $60 million for the fuel it received to run its generation plant. Never paid a cent. In fact, its staff report dated August 2015, the IMF provided a very clear and concise overview of the energy sector in St. Kitts and Nevis. A quick glance through Annex 5 and its 4 or 5 sections will provide a snapshot of the sector. So yes, Team Unity inherited a country where people could not pay electricity bills under Labour. The only solution presented by the leader of the former administration was to shed crocodile tears. Remember, he wanted to cry. And this new Labour administration is now threatening to increase the cost of electricity one more time. But in 2019, my people, SCELEC signed a power purchase agreement, a PPA, with Leclanche, a Swiss company to supply solar-generated energy. The government has approved the use of the lands for Leclanche to build a 33-megawatt solar farm with 44 or 45 megawatts of battery storage, which would allow them to fulfill this obligation. When completed, this solar farm will supply between 25 and 30% of SCELEC's energy. But came COVID-19 and delayed this solar project, this solar energy project. And what occurred between 2020 and 2022 is still not quite clear to me, except to note that in 2022, the then minister relaunched the project. It is therefore foolhardy to see that the Jew Labour administration, in the case of the prison project, for example, it accepts that government is continuous But with a very important development in renewable energy, politics continue to override common sense. And that to me is so foolhardy. I also recall that the Ministry and Skelec, I should say, were at an advanced stage of negotiations for the construction of a wind farm by North Star, an American company. The team in the government was also actively pursuing development of geothermal energy, and waste-to-energy production were being considered. To listen to the incumbent minister speak to the procurement of 18 megawatts of fossil fuel generation is retrogressive and really myopic. I wonder if my sound bites would play this time, because I would really like to I'd like you to listen this particular myopic comment from Minister Maynard. I don't believe we are hearing them, but my straight dog family, the minister said that they're going to invest in 2 9-megawatt fossil fuel generators. That to me is retrogressive and really myopic. I say so. And someone sent me a WhatsApp message therein asking if I was afraid to talk about the solar project that has been held up for the past 6 months by the responsible minister of Skelec. Now, I deliberately refrained from talking about the solar project because the utterances coming from the said minister tell us that he speaks about the project from a point of ignorance. And in such cases, I always apply the Mark Twain theory. Would you believe, my straight dog family, that solar power met 45% of the demand on our neighboring island of St. Eustatia, as we call it, last year? The Netherlands administered Caribbean island last year saw almost half of its power demanded by solar plus storage plant commissioned in late 2017. During the day, the solar park meets the entire electricity requirement, while diesel generators take care of the electricity production in the evening and night. If the daytime conditions are not favorable, for example, with a lot of clouds because it's an intermittent resource, the system automatically switches to the diesel generators that take over production. The authority on the Dutch Caribbean island of Saba also meet 16% of demand from solar power. And in Bonaire, it saw its wind power plants help renewables meet around 33% of power demand last year in that island. So the 3 islands combined had clean energy provided around a third of the energy needs of the islands. My people, once the projects I mentioned earlier come to fruition, they will greatly enhance our energy resilience and empower our people at the same time. They will produce energy from indigenous resources, greatly reducing our dependence on fossil fuel thus providing us with the capacity to recover more expeditiously from natural disasters and or the vagaries of international events. The fixed price of energy over the life of these contracts will allow SCELEC to plan more effectively. This should also translate into more stable prices for consumers, shielding them from the uncertainties of fossil fuel prices, thus making them more resilient. This increased certainty should result in financial benefits for both domestic, commercial, and industrial consumers, and economic benefits for the Federation. Locals will be empowered during the construction and operation of these projects, as they will provide jobs for the locals. Leclanche and government, through its solely owned company, SCELEC, agreed to build the largest solar generation plus energy storage project ever to be built in the Caribbean. Leclanche is one of the world's leading energy storage companies. The 35.6 megawatt solar energy plant and 44.2 or 45 megawatt battery storage facility will be built on government-provided land in Bastia once this government put aside its politics. It will provide the residents of this Caribbean Twin Island Federation with a reliable and renewable clean energy source at a fixed cost savings of between 20 to 25% compared to the current diesel-generated power system. The system will provide, as I said before, between 25 to 30% of the nation's current power generation needs, while displacing the same amount of diesel-generated capacity. The solar storage project will help to solidify the financial strength of SCELEC over the next 20 plus years, while substantially reducing the island's fuel costs over that period. The expected fuel avoidance costs from the installation of the solar farm will not only be beneficial to the energy demand of the Federation, but represents the most viable option for securing SCELEC's financial future. Furthermore, the option to own the plant is available to SCELEC. So it was pathetic to listen to the rational advance by Maynard about 2 days ago about rainfall. But that is why there is battery storage, because it's an intermittent resource. I wonder if Minister Maynard is aware, for example, that we installed brand new solar lighting at the RLB International Airport. So if you have 2 days of rainfall, he thinks we close the airport to night landings? No. We have 300 hours of storage that ensures stability and reliability. The solar and battery storage project represents a giant, or rather a Himalayan step forward in the government's efforts to ensure clean, safe, and affordable energy future for our country. This project offers many benefits for our residents, businesses, and the millions of tourists who visit St. Kitts and Nevis each year, by sea and by air. My people, the message I bring tonight: we must build resilience in the water and energy sectors. If we don't, we will have to live without water in St. Kitts. For now, we are subject to the rationing of water, and though there is no load shedding of electricity, there are many interruptions. The minister must stop his monologue and try to dialogue with the people who know. I wonder if Bertil Brown, that engineer and the energy unit, gives the minister that brief. I put my neck on the block that he did not. Perhaps don't even talk to his engineers. but he comes with his monologues instead of dialogue or dialoguing with the people. My people, as I said, there is no load shedding of electricity, but there are many interruptions. We are rationing our water, so much so that water come, now electricity gone. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. Apologize, my Straight Dog family, for the absence or the technical difficulties I had with my sound bites. And I tell you, there are some lovely sound bites. So I asked myself, what on earth went wrong? I really asked myself, what went wrong? But we will sort it out, my Straight Dog family. We will sort it out. I'll try one more time. And my Straight Dog family, I will just implore you to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And in saying and doing those things, let us ensure that they are beneficial to all concerned. And of course, in the process, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. The amount of paid official and unofficial advisors reads this email. Secretaries and ambassadors surrounding Dr. Drew. It would be better for the country if he swallowed his pride and hand over the prime ministership to the veteran Dr. Douglas and take full control of the Ministry of Health and save some money in the treasury, reads this email. Very interesting perspective. This other email reads, my Straight Dog family, Dr. Drew, please don't come to us with any misleading information. Yes, I agree that person who held top positions in government should all be treated with some modicum of respect. But for you to lament and bemoan that Team Unity treated Governor Sir Edmund Lawrence disrespectfully is laughable. I am certain, Prime Minister, that you are oblivious with the saying that what you sow, you reap. I can catalog numerous instances where Governor Lawrence treated the members of Team Unity like dogs. And that is no joke. You forgot the letter he refused to accept when it was about to be delivered to him at Government House, and the instruction he gave to the guards not to receive anything whatsoever for him, emanating from them people called Team Unity. Mark Brantley was so annoyed with him that at the swearing ceremony at Warner Park, he pulled the documents from him, demonstrating his anger over his boorishness and condescending attitude meted out to Team Unity, reads that email. My Straight Talk family, if you've just joined us, we are looking at our thesis tonight, water gone or water comeback. Electricity gone. And we examine the situation in St. Kitts, where in fact that we have not tried to increase our water supply, although right around us we are surrounded by water, and it must be prudent to try to move into desalination. My people, as we look at the issues as it relates to water and electricity, we ask ourselves, why? Why would in this day and age the government wants to invest $60 million and more in 18 megawatts of fuel fossil generation? Why? It's foolhardy. Generators can last a lifetime. All they need to do is rebuild them, and you have your intermittent power from solar. Then you start to use the generation or the time to look at the generation or the maintenance rather of your generators. That's one way out. The life will be prolonged. The current life of the current generators, the life of the current generators will be prolonged. All they need is an overhaul. And if there are issues with the generation or with rain, then that's what you have the other fuel generators for. Mr. Prime Minister, sir, every time you speak, you mention your government's good governance agenda. Read this email. So here's my question, Dr. Drew. Is it good governance or corruption to have your government-paid health advisor every Friday afternoon on Freedom Radio talking a bunch of political crap, singing for his supper and full of himself? The man should be at the hospital from 8 to 4 daily, working for his monthly salary of $12,000 for doing virtually nothing. That is corrupt practice, Dr. Jew, especially he of all persons who always talking about corruption, and he should set an example. They have no shame, reads this email. This other email reads, yes, you're reminding me that there are no audio clips or no sound in terms of my audio clips, and I do really want to apologize for that. I really must apologize for that, but that's really beyond my control at the moment, my Straight Dog family, and we really, really do apologize, because I I really wanted you to hear them. I really wanted you to hear all of them. And I'm going to bet my bottom dollar that I'll get one played or get them played before I leave tonight. What do you think? Should I try this one? Okay, my family, I tried. Forgive me, I really tried. But yes, something is wrong with my sound bites, and I do apologize for that. We've tried everything here from a technical standpoint, but I know how you're feeling because I know how I am feeling. A sound of your recordings, that's what most of the emailers are saying to me here. Again, thank you for that. Patches, St. Kitts playing around with the expansion of the RLB airport. Reads this email. If St. Kitts expands RLB airport and build a bridge to Nevis, then the people of Nevis can travel to and from St. Kitts airport, and then it has no need to build an international airport because one is close by in St. Kitts. Just as they did with Anguilla, Nevis has to move on if St. Kitts walking slow. So you see now St. Kitts is causing Nevis to make a move. Tell St. Kitts to expand St. Kitts' airport. Thank you. St. Kitts airport to date do not have boarding. Tell me, Patches, thank you. Reads that email. And yes, Straight Dog family, I understand. And again, I do apologize. And this email reads, good night, Brother Patches. They may conspire to suppress the truth and the facts from reaching the people, but they can never suppress the spirit of a man. Any man filled with a conviction of national duty in service of his fellow citizens can never be hushed or gagged. They can change the law or the laws. They can even change the Constitution if they wish, but they will never change the spirit of a man who possesses a clear conviction to speak the truth. A man or group of men and or women who fear the truth or fear the truth coming out also deep down inside fears true democracy. Democracy does not and cannot operate in a dark room filled with silence. The people will speak even when the facts can't initially, but eventually the facts will speak for themselves. Very interesting perspective here, my Street Dog family. And this other email reads, thanks for the emails, since we're not getting hypocrites. Reads this email. Good night, Mr. Liburd. Dr. Jew and his team criticized every contribution that was made by Team Unity to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Labour criticized the Old Road Project, the Island Main Road Rehabilitation Project, the Peace Program, PAP Program, the New Pier, the prison, the CBI Program, etc. But now they have the government, nothing fruitful is happening in the country. Patches, just for clarity, did you say that the PAP beneficiaries have a 1-year limit now? Yes, there's a 6 months to a 1 year at temporal basis. And that's what the minister said. I'm afraid that my sound bites are not not playing, so I can't really play that for you. But yes, he did in fact say that. Desalination is the way to go. Patches reads this other email. Say it out loud. Explain it to the public and to Mr. Maynard. Tell them stop spending money on drilling. Tell them go to St. Martin to see how desalination is being done. Because St. Martin does not have a water problem because the water comes from the sea. Thank you. Take a look. It sends me, yes, that desal plant in St. Martin. So too in Curacao as well. It comes. Patches, our people of the Federation have to make it a habit to access the budget estimates. Free access are given online on the Ministry of Finance's website. The reason for my recommendation is because last week I heard you mention about the new barracks at Coast Guard, a 40-foot Coast Guard, a 40-foot boat, for Coast Guard, supposed to get. And he also mentioned about procurement of MRI machine and cataract machine. All that he mentioned were already budgeted for and procured under Team Unity government. You need to be honest to the people and stop trying to fool the people. Read this email. And that's why we say he has a forked tongue, my straight dog family. Patches, when the Prime Minister refuses to give an honest answer about the number of passports and nationality, I wonder if the people of this country realize he's lying to all of us. He needs to stop telling the reporter to go and ask somebody to get the information when he's the one signing off for them. Is it the amount he has signed since taking government? How long he plans to keep up this nonsense about he don't know? He really taking us for fools, and some people are allowing it. When you call into his favorite radio station to hear your views, the host is telling you to hurry up. And after you finish talking, the host will laugh at you and sometimes call you all kind of names. Read this email. And yes, my straight dog family, the passport issue is really a vexing issue. Because the only man to sign the certificates of registration is the Prime Minister, who is in fact as well the Minister of National Security. And the Act speaks to CORs, and I did read that section tonight as it relates to the CORs, or certificates of registration. And for him to say he don't know, he's probably just trying to hide how many he has signed. Because remember, he criticized the prison project. He criticized the prison project. And lo and behold, he came into office, the project was so bad, but all of a sudden the project comes good. And within 3 months, he signed over 3,000 certificates of registration. So he must know. He must know what he signs. But he's probably afraid to say that he signed them, and he's probably embarrassed after talking such in opposition. Caller, you're live.
Good evening, Dr. Ian Patches Liburd.
How are you, my brother? Good evening.
Oh well, radical culture is well. Hold on there. That thing you're coming to the phone. Sorry about that, Patches.
Sorry.
Yeah. Patches, we cannot really hear the song about them, and it's a shame.
Yes, it's really a shame, yes.
But I can tell you something. Remember, he got a man from China descent. He's very good in hacking these kind of technology. Remember he went down to Dominico when some election was coming up. When Team Unity election was coming up for Team Unity to go in. Remember he was doing he hacking until he realized that they were creeping up on him and finding out what he doing, and he went down Dominico. Well, he had come back to the country some months ago. I don't know if he's still here. But it's a possibility that he's around and he's the one who's trying to do all his hacking. Because we can hear you clearly, just like you're sitting down next to anybody talking. But it's funny that none of the sound bites could play. It's strange. And you know, hacking seems now to be the common thing going around in the world, and it's right down here now in St. Kitts and Nevis, hacking. So, I could understand how we go with that. But I will call you tomorrow, God willing, on your own personal phone, and I will lead you to someone who has an equipment who can help you. I know that for sure. I could tell you the person name on the radio, but I'm not going to say it because those folly suit, you know, we had a song, so when you folly suit, get managed. If I tell you on the radio, they will run, go and jump in front of you and force you. So I'll tell you tomorrow when me and you alone can hear what I'm saying. Okay. And then the whole world will know what I had to tell you.
Okay. Okay, my brother.
Now, this man here who they got in charge of skillet and water, don't forget that when he went in here, he said, anything he leader tell him do. Anywhere he leader tell him go or what, he gonna do it. He ain't gonna ask whether it's the truth or anything. So we do not expect anything truthful and good from him. That is Conway's. And Conway's is one of the biggest lying politicians in St. Kitts. Because some years when he come from Tartolo, he was interviewed by a popular radio host. And the host asked him, why did you leave your job in Tartolo where you were working for plenty US money to come here? Why? Is more money? He said, no, I'm not coming here for the money. I love my people while I come here. And that was totally a lie, because we can see why he come here to work for money. If you go up Alleviation and look up, you will see Babel Tower up there. Ain't complete yet, so he's going to complete now that he is in office. And the second lie he tell, he went to Dubai. He said he went down there to perform singing calypso. And at that moment, the leader of the country that time, it was Dr. Douglas was down there. And he gonna say, Dr. Douglas never know that he was coming to Dubai to sing calypso. But even people who ain't hearing, who deaf, could tell that was a big lie. The Bible say, all men are liars. So I could say that. But we have a lot to go through, you know. And let me tell people this, and you badges. What started wrong, if you started to button up your shirt wrong, it will end wrong. So from start, continuously in the middle, it is wrong. And at the end, it is wrong until you button back out all of them and start afresh. This Labour Party gone in here with Jew, Taliban Jew, at the helm. They started wrong because remember he said, when he was asked about the election, he said, an election can be bought. And that is what happened to this Labour, this past election here. It was bought. It was not constitutionally legally elected. It was bought, and so therefore it was wrong, and it's going to continue wrong. But I got more to say, so let somebody come in. I'll be back to your passage. Because I will leave you. Anywhere you go, me culture will come with you. If it takes me alone, I will be with you. And I will not wear no camouflage to fool nobody and let them think, well then, I am on the side. No way. I will never change my color. No skin clothes, no nothing. I am Unity, PLP, and PAM all in one. 3 of them, 2 of them make Unity. And I wish that when Parliament open Wednesday, God willing, that Dr. Harris and Dr. Sean Richard, the two of them alone on the opposition bench, and the hypocrite from Nevis is supposed to be there with them. But right now, he ain't acting like he is an opposition. He acting like he's part of the government ministers. Because anyway, the leader of the government go now, right now. He right up behind him like a G-string. So, Dr. Harris and Dr. Sean, you all don't be afraid when you all go in Parliament Wednesday. Stand up and let go of your mouth. Talk while you know. And the whole world who listening and who can see, they will really see who are loyals and who are truthers. I'll be back, Patrick.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Yes, we went to the volcano and you followed me. I'm happy we'll go every place, my brother. It's now 29 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Patches reads this email. The temporary cash payments you're referring to, that is for the PAP or the peace? It's for the PAP. Either way, who you got handling all this cash? Is there an oversight or checks and balance? Because, you know, cash is funny, fellow. Interested. My straight dog family, in the event you have just joined me, I know one of the features you have missed tonight is my evidence. You call them the sound bites, but I always provide the evidence. And I have not been able to provide the evidence for the things that I've advanced tonight, but I know that you very well believe me because I have a penchant to always speak the truth. And I will speak the truth until I die. And I know I upset some people, but I do not intend to be like an horse or a mule, lest my mouth will be held with bit and bridle, and they will come near me. So I will not be afraid. I know at this time I am under some conditions that I can't even speak about them. I mean, sometimes I just sit by myself and I smile. And I can't believe that in my beloved St. Kitts and Nevis, where I was born, where I was raised, where I still live, that a little boy can use and abuse his power and try to muzzle me. But only for a while, you know, only for a while. It cannot be forever. And we will, in time, my people, find out. The truth will be told. No matter how long they try to suppress the truth, the truth will be told. I always implore you to speak the truth. But in this present time, you have to be prepared to stand alone. And I will stand alone, but I will always speak the truth. And for those who have just joined me, we looked, my people, at our thesis for tonight. My people, water come back, but electricity gone. And that's exactly what's happening in St. Kitts in St. Kitts. I'll speak to St. Kitts. Today, we need water to enhance, and we need to enhance its value because it's under extreme threat. And instead of finding solutions, those in authority are making excuses and trying to apportion blame. But my people, we are not concerned about what happened back then. We are concerned about now. And the people want water. And the people want cheaper electricity. The people, as I said, are concerned about the now, the present. And that's what ought to be addressed, has to be addressed, because when we look at the situation, what we need is solutions. We don't want no excuses. None at all will help us. As I speak to you, the water in my area has already gone. And this has been going on for a long time. The Jew Labour administration promised to solve it. When? We don't know. That's one thing they didn't do, is give us a time frame. But they promised to solve it. But we're going to hold them to that. And no excuses. This fork tongue won't fool us. We will not be fooled at all anymore. We've been fooled in the past, and the people are not going to be fooled anymore. You said you came to do better, so we expect better. And we're not going to tolerate this blame game. Coming, driving in the rearview mirror, or looking in the rearview mirror. No. We want to look forward, like people. We're going to hold you to account. You must account for your stewardship. That's how we're going to address it. My stray dog family, water is life. And for too long, our water has been rationed. Over 2/3 of the earth's surface is covered with water. Our islands are surrounded by water. So why on earth is this hesitation to go desalination? I know the Labour Party in 2006 procured a desalination plant for 1 million gallons. It was never commissioned. So they do have their issues with water. And I am not going to hold my head and get my hopes up that they will find water. Even when I was in office, I never believed in that company that does deep well drilling. They never extract water. They extract our dollars. 2/3 of the Earth's surface, as I said, is covered with water. In St. Kitts and Nevis, the entire federation is surrounded by water. Yet there's a scarcity of drinkable or potable water around us. Quite a lot has been said about water in St. Kitts. Many things that have been said are right, but some things are dead wrong. Dead wrong, my Straight Dog family. And I am not afraid to say that. My people, tonight, you hear the rain pouring. Yet, we don't have water. And leadership should be about liberating people to achieve remarkable things and using all possibilities in the here and in now. Caller, you live.
Good night, Patches. Good night, Patches. We have what happened to the Little Valley? Come on, Patches. What happened to the Little Valley thing, the desalination plant?
It was never commissioned.
You gonna let it see?
Well, you know, Labor's the one who procured it. We tried to commission it, but Labor has an opportunity to do something about it again. What do you think?
And what about the generator down there? Every time we get into power, we lose current, we lose water. Well, you realize it? 95, we have to buy generator to think every minute current going, now every minute water going. Come on, Patches.
And they're going back to the same thing, renting generators. You remember that?
Yeah.
Going back to renting generators again.
Oh, labor. They have to go. I think we're going to give them until December.
Maybe before that.
Huh?
It's in the deserve such long time?
Well, maybe we call election July.
Okay.
July the 5th.
Yes, we have something has to be done. I don't think we can tolerate this for much too long. Something has to be done.
Yes, and the agriculture minister, he's the prime minister said that he got all the ministers and is good. But look at the agriculture minister. He used to do lettuce, and as he get minister, he stopped doing lettuce.
Well,
you don't hear his farm lettuce now, and then lettuce has to go up to expensive because he stopped. He gets to pump us.
Okay. He's an expert, you know.
Yeah, he's the expert. That's what I tell you. He's an expert in, and look, they have vapors up there. Nevis gone ahead of us, and Nevis smaller than us. They're gonna do broiler chicken. They're gonna do chicken. They give you duty free to buy your stuff, you galvanize on your board on a 60-acre land. So Nevis now we start importing so much chicken.
Yeah, I heard that, yes.
Yeah, and St. Kitts have vapors up there just resting, relaxing. Vapors is the place we used to get milk and stuff from. How come we can't get nothing from? We're supposed to bring in the goats, bring in pigs, sheep, cattle, and you sell them from Vapors. Vapors is like a hub. The minister is supposed to export. Come on.
Those were the days. Those days are gone.
Yes, but they have 25 million they do for agriculture.
Yes.
Use the money.
The exports.
Food security. Food security is what we're talking about.
Well, you know, they're fork tongue. So when you hear them, just take it with a grain of salt, my brother. Take it with a grain of salt.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This labor is worse than before.
Oh, yes. They come with playing a blame game, right? The blame team unity. They blame their predecessors. You know?
Yeah.
But
And then you could have give Miss Conda, governor. Come on. Where you gonna give Marcel and she don't lose his seat and them thing and stuff? Miss Conda is a woman too.
That's another story, my brother. That's another story.
So maybe because Pat is the Liburd and Marcel is the Liburd and the next governor of Nevis is the Liburd. Become the Liburd and one thing.
Well, the Liburds always exist, right? And they all
and then you got Caesar again. Got the next big job again, ambassador.
Ambassador Liburd, yes.
And he getting pension and all kind of stuff. Give some young person something. Come on, people want to work.
Yes. I always said there's no good government without the Liburd.
yes. One gone, the next one come.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. But always good to hear you, though. Thanks a lot for your
input. Okay.
Yeah, my brother. Thanks a lot. Yes. Very interesting observation there. There's a Deputy Governor General, is it? Yes, a Deputy Governor General Liburd and a Governor General Liburd, 2 women. Very interesting. But the Jew administration, as I was saying, since assuming office, has played the blame game and keeps driving the car in the rearview mirror. They all blame their predecessors for everything it has failed to deliver. The country out of water. The minister blames somebody instead of tackling the challenges. Isn't he aware that leading only happens in the present? Leading is not about the future. It's about now. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Streetak, how are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. What about yourself?
You have to be peaceful, man. It's a pleasure to hear your voice coming over just like you're on radio. I understand, but I just call you to encourage you to do what you are doing straight up. Don't give up. You are doing good. So even though that they cannot get in you on radio, I thank you. I'm getting you over the computer like a piece of cake.
Thank you, my brother.
So you are doing a wonderful job. I said I wasn't going to call you, but I'm listening here and I'm laughing with that guy. He's almost in my bed. I said, no, let me just jump off my bed and encourage my sweetheart to continue to do what he's doing.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
And my friend, stand up strong. No matter what's wrong, you keep standing up strong. God bless you until I see you when I see you, my brother.
See you when I see you,
God
my brother.
be good with you. Yes. See you when I see you.
See you when I see you, my brother. Thanks a lot. That's my brother there from North America. Caller, you live.
Yeah, Patches, okay. Thank you. Patches, I want to thank the caller there who the one before this one here and this one so also too. Because they are brave soldiers of truth. And let me show you something how Jew is operating. Jew is operating like when a person have a dog and you give the dog its food. You don't go back and move the bowl with the food while the dog head in there. Otherwise the dog gonna bite you. You have to wait until the dog take out his head out of the bowl, and then you move the bowl, and you put in more food if you want to put in more, or if you want to shift the bowl. You don't trouble it. Otherwise they can bite you. Saying that to say this, Jew commit the program from Dr. Harris to help the poor people, the needy people, not the wanted people, even though some people punch a loophole in it. And those greedy ones who do not and did not deserve to be getting that, because the loophole was punched, they were getting it. Well, I agree to clean up that, shut up that loophole. But those who are in need, he had no right to stop the $500 to them. None. Because when you take away food from somebody who working for it honestly, spending their honest, hard-earned money to buy food, and you're going to take that from them for no fault of their own, you know what they're going to happen? They're going to bite you. They're going to bite you like a dog. And when they start to bite you, you don't try to blame on nobody else and say, well, people walk up here. It's what you do, just come back to haunt you. You just come in here and want to say, you're doing things different to the farmer administration. But are you making it worse? Are you making people starve? A lot of people who cannot afford, people who lay aside sick, can't walk to go work, can't walk. Some of them, what you call it, they are mentally retarded. And they are depending on the whatever you call it, the pop. And you come and cut off that and want to say that money was wasting and all kind of thing. Money was wasting, but the loophole. But these people who are in need, you have no way of cutting them off. Let me turn to the water business now. Anigado, Tartolo, all them little small islands around here, all they have around here, depending on, is desalination plant. And Tartolo, they have some well that they dig long time. Thank God they're still supplying water. So when Mr. Kanye is coming and he's talking about he's going to build a new reservoir here in one day. What reservoir? If no rain falls from the clouds, none could go in them reservoir. The biggest reservoir we have, and the biggest dam, if you want to call it that, is the seawater. That is the way to go. St. John and St. Thomas and them places, St. Martin and them there. They've been using salt water for years. So I don't see why they have those two machines down pump bed. The generator and the desalination plant down there rotting down to the ground and not using the seawater and come cutting out people water because what? No rain falling the way they expect it to fall. Well, if the rain ain't falling, God provide knowledge that you all can use the desalination plant and supply the country with water. So they can't fool people who know. They cannot. And they cannot stop you. When I don't talk to you tomorrow, God willing, you're gonna see, everybody gonna see, well, things better with us. They're trying all their best to stop your party, but they cannot stop your conscience from speaking the truth. Sure. Because God, the good Lord, do not like liars. And all of them, they who follow in the Taliban man, they're a bunch of liars and hypocrites and Judas and vindictive people. But we can hear what happened. We can hear some truth in Parliament this Wednesday, man. We can hear truth in there. Okay. Because those two men on the opposition bench, they ain't afraid to talk. And let me tell them this. When you all get up to talk, when Congress believe he could cut cross, confuse people, that to confuse all you, that all you could sit down. Don't sit down. Do not sit down. Talk. And then the boyos speaker want to tell you all about sit down and house it down because they don't want Timothy to talk. You know, you get up to talk. Do not hush until all the time is up.
Okay, my brother.
We're depending on you all.
Okay.
Okay. That is again a gun so long.
Thanks a lot, my brother. Thanks a lot. Let's go back to the lines. A caller Hello, caller, you live? Are you there, caller?
Yeah, good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, sir. How are you?
I am blessed. I am blessed. First time calling in a long time, and I want to wish you a happy new year.
Thank you very much. Same to you. Good health to you as well.
I'm glad to your program. You're trying to show the people exactly what's going on in the Federation. Everybody thinks need a little knowledge. That's about you're a teacher. And you're showing the students them how to go about doing certain things. But I'm very disappointed with this government. We have to have a government, but for the way they are going, I'm very disappointed. Because when you have to look back and see the amount of persons that they're bringing back into office, and who was already in government, is a shame. Because they said on the campaign they are there to set the young people. But instead of that, bringing back people like Mr. Liburd, who is already done on his pension as an advisor. You're bringing back in Mr. Scarcity, who was a chairman on the cricket board, President's board, and an advisor to tourism. You're bringing back in a lot of other people who done over the mileage and getting this amount of money in the hand at month as advisors. What happened to the young folks who just come out of college? Why can't they find a job and give them? Find some place and put them in. Because when I speak within myself and with an authority. Because for you to be a speaker, you have to be a good listener. Come and say what you have to say. And it is hurting me to know that we have put in persons like Mr. Joe, who is one of the youngest prime minister in this federation. And the way how they are doing things, I'm not happy with. People like Dr. Martin should have never been back up at the hospital. And Mr. Liburd, this country is going backward and not forward. And that they are saying they are there to show the young generation how to govern. How you can govern young people and still bring it back in the older folks. people is seeing it, but people don't want to speak about it. And it is hurting me. Why are they trying to muzzle you? And it is not right they're trying to muzzle you because you are explaining to the people exactly what's going on in the federation, even when Team Unity were there, and even before Team Unity, you used to be on other radio station explaining to the people what's going on. Mr. Mark Blatty, he's the premier of Nevis, and he still has his talk show. Who is stopping him? Nobody is stopping him, but they are stopping you from coming on and the radio to explain to the people in the federation what's going on. And everybody now is asking, what happened to Mr. Liburd? What happened to Patches? I said, Patches right now is on YouTube, and some people cannot get YouTube because they don't have the finance to put in what you call it, internet to get YouTube. So we need you back on a radio station for people to call in and explain exactly what's going on in this federation. Right now, I am not happy of what's going on. They used to lock off water gone, now light is going. What is going on? What happened to Mr. Doy Ackerman, who bring down the Team Unity? They are nothing there for him. He could be an advisor to something. What happened to Mr. Sam Kando, who was a deputy prime minister? Nothing is there for him. Somebody speak about Mr. Kando. Nothing is there for Mr. Kando. Those are stalwarts of the Labour Party, and they should be given a chance to do something. It is not right.
Okay.
I'm sick and I'm fed up of what's going on in the Federation.
Everybody is, my brother.
But only God above can render what's going on. We only could speak as much as we want, but they are doing things their way, and it is not right. We put them in, and in the time, people will take them out. By the tip of the finger, you're out of office.
Yes, my brother. Thanks for your input.
And
Good.
we need you back on a radio station. Like what happened to Sugar City Rock? Let them give you the okay to go on Sugar City Rock and come on and let the people them know where you are, because everybody wanted to know where is Mr. Liburd, where is he?
Got you,
because you are explaining to the people exactly what you think is best of this country. Mr. Liburd, have a good night.
Have a good night, and thanks for your intervention. Thanks for your contribution tonight as well. And everything is only for a time. Good night. So Liburd reads this email. Someone needs to ask Dr. Drew what he has against the security company at the Joseph N. France Hospital. He spoke recently about encouraging small businesses as it helps the government, but yet he is trying to stifle the company. More than 90% of the staff are Labour supporters, but Dr. Drew doesn't care about people. The decent thing to do is to allow the contract to expire, but yet he has prematurely ended the contract without reason. He is now speaking about procurement, etc., but the former Minister of Health wrote a whole article setting him in the right direction as he doesn't have a clue. He's hurting his own supporters and their families. Doesn't that bother him? Doesn't he have a heart? Reads this email. It's now just about 10 o'clock, and I'll wind up with these emails. Patches, the reason why Dougie is not saying anything is because he wants Drew to fail, and Drew is doing just that, because we cannot blame Dougie anymore as he is not the Prime Minister. But I have noticed the Labour government cuss. Labour is failure. Patches, did you know there's 17% VAT on food? I have the receipts. Reads this other email. This email reads, Patches, we have to understand something. We need to understand that no water, no electricity, high crime rates, bad roads, no money, and victimization are consistent with Labour governments. Drew too arrogant, he don't care, but it's clear to see he's under a lot of stress. He's starting to look older than Douglas. All Jeffrey Hanley focusing on is wearing of nice suits. Patches, the people fed up. Things rough for real. Reads this other email. This email reads, Patches, I wish I had the guts to call in. Right now, I am so depressed. My grandmother was using the pap to buy her medication and food stuff. I does try my best to help her. Don't get me wrong, but she didn't get the pap today as promised by Drew and Hanley. My grandmother is sad because she taking it on. That's all I have to say. Mr. Liburd reads this email. Patches, I wonder if anyone remembered during one of the Labour campaign meetings, it was said by a speaker that they will finish away with the pap. It is plain to see now, just by the way they are handling it. The pap was introduced for the poor and needy in this country. This Labour Party only know poor people at election time, fooling them about increasing the $500 for pap. That's why some voted for them, to get some assistance. And now the Labour Party has turned their backs on them. Some people can't get $1 up to now. people wise up. The Labour Party is not good for this country, reads that email. My Straight Talk family, it's time to run. We have been here tonight. Again, I want to profusely apologize for not being able to provide the evidence, which are my sound bites. And you really wanted to hear these, and I wanted you to hear them. I have to find some way next time to include them in my program, because I think you want to hear them now, what the Labour Party is saying. My Straight Talk family, they are blaming their predecessors and not blaming themselves. They're looking in the past, but leading only happens in the present. When we believe that our strategic vision exists as an object out there in the future, two things happen. First, we tend to build up a selective picture of reality as it should be, not as it actually is. And my people, this creates a tunnel vision. Second, because we do this, we restrict choices. We restrict the choices and opportunities that are available to us, my Straight Talk family. And we see only what we want to see, my family. But our thinking then becomes biased. They're warped or twisted out of reasoning. But it's not the future that is unknown. It is the present. And we must examine what's before us. Because my Straight Talk family, as I said in the beginning, and for those of us or you who did not hear me, that our water come back, no electricity gone. And that's a true situation. That's a real situation here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Well, St. Kitts, because I can't speak too much for Nevis, because I don't know the situation there. But my people, someone sent me a message and wonder why I'm not talking about the solar energy farm. And I heard the minister with responsibility for Skellig speaking some nonsense. And I deliberately refrained from talking about the solar project because the utterances coming from this minister tells us that he speaks about the solar project from a point of ignorance. And in such cases, I always apply the Mark Twain theory. Because if the minister does his research, if the minister just done or finishes with his monologue and start to dialogue with people who know, he will understand, for example, that there are solar hours maps for the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. They call it solar isolation maps. And these maps show the annual and daily average solar hours, the solar insolation for various areas in the Caribbean, Central America, and South America, and here in St. Kitts. And this information is what is used and what is needed to properly size the battery and photovoltaic solar panel configuration needed for operating the solar plant. I spoke to you that in Stacia, just next door, 45% of the solar power of their energy needs is provided by solar. Solar power met 45% of the demand on our neighboring island in St. Eustatius. But this man taking a retrogressive step and buying 2 9-megawatt generators, 80 megawatts, with some nonsense rationale. During the day, the solar parking station meets the entire electricity requirement, while diesel generators take over in the night. My straight dog family, once the projects I mentioned came to fruition or comes to fruition, they will greatly enhance our energy reliance, our resilience, beg your pardon, and empower our people. The fixed price of energy over the life of these contracts will allow Skelec to plan more effectively. My people, this increased certainty should result in financial benefits for both domestic, commercial, and industrial consumers, and economic benefits for the country. Leclanche and government agreed to build the largest generation plus energy storage project in the Caribbean. But the minister is frustrating it. Why? He'll have to tell us someday. But, my people, it was pathetic to listen to the rational advance by the minister about 2 days of rainfall. But that is why there's battery storage. And like I said, there are solar maps that determine the size of your plants and the panels that are required. They are there. Do the research, Minister, and you will find that the average solar hours, annual and daily, are mapped for various areas in the Caribbean, including St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is how you properly size the battery and the PV solar panel configuration. And that's what was done here in St. Kitts. But my people, my time is done and I must run. But I want to say it in parting that the minister must stand with his monologues and entertain and indulge himself in some dialogue with the people who know. He's not an expert. For now, we are subject to rationing. And my message I brought tonight was that we must build resilience in the water and energy sectors. If we don't, it will not be good for us in the future. And we cannot live without water on St. Kitts. For now, we are subject to the rationing of water, and though there is no load shedding of electricity, there are many interruptions. So much so that water come back, now electricity gone. That's my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight and for you, the many listeners. I know I've missed my traditional radio fans, but we'll sort something out sooner rather than later. But those on social media, Facebook, YouTube, I want to thank you. Those who sent messages, those who sent emails, those who called. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patrick Liburd, and God's will, I'll connect with you on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until then, remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday.